Tom, what is your role in open learning at Ohio State?
Sure. Hi, my name is Tom Evans. I am Program Manager for Open Learning at Ohio State University. And we got started with Open Learning back in 2012. We originally started placing some courses on iTunes U, and soon after that got underway, the university initiated a partnership with Coursera, which is a massive open online course platform. And so we decided to tinker around a little bit with these MOOCs and figure out what we could learn from them and how possibly these courses might be able to impact the way that we actually do courses to our regular students here at Ohio State. So we first started with a math course called Calculus 1. And we placed that on Coursera. It started early January of 2013. We started in 2012 with a lot of the planning, getting our institutional page up and running, figuring out the types of courses, reaching out to faculty to try and create, to establish partnerships with some of our first pilot courses. So we started with that Calculus 1 course, and it took off rather successfully. We launched and had roughly about 47,000 students in the first time that we ran that course. And then subsequent runs of the course, we had a little bit less. We had like in the 30s and 20,000s of people, which is still a heck of a lot of people. And from there, we developed a second calculus course, conveniently called Calculus 2. And then we had a couple pharmacy courses and a writing course. And as we kept branching out, we would have faculty reach out to us asking us, if they could develop an open course. So a lot of the strategic efforts behind the reasons why we were doing this was mainly to support, the various projects and initiatives that the faculty came to us with, more so than our agenda or our push to get a lot of people to develop open courses and open content at first. And so as we were working with Coursera and we were also working with iTunes U, then it was not too long after we got well underway with Coursera that the university decided to change our learning management system to Canvas, which is the kind of the engine that runs our Carmen learning platform. And Canvas also has an open platform called Canvas Network. And so we decided to start piloting a few courses on the Canvas Network platform just to learn a little bit about how does that platform work delivering open courses versus the Coursera platform. And we learned that it was extremely efficient to build courses in Canvas Network, mainly because the faculty that we work with were already building their courses in Carmen, and the platforms are exactly the same. So from an efficiency standpoint, we decided to focus more of our efforts now on developing courses for Canvas Network. And we've recently decided that we are pulling all of our material and courses off of Coursera. There are a few other reasons why we decided to leave the Coursera platform. They've made a few pivots in their strategic direction of the mainly focusing more on workforce development and really pushing monetization and revenue generation in their MOOCs on the Coursera platform, that is. And that is not a key strategy for us here at Ohio State. So pushing all of those efforts aside, it made more sense for us to lean on a platform that we're comfortable working with, that the faculty are comfortable working with, and stick with using Canvas. Without going into too many details, the university has this consortium alliance called Unizin, which is a collection or a collaboration amongst a whole bunch of institutions in the Big 10, Big 12. And so we started within that organization to look into the edX platform. And Ohio State received their own instance of edX, which is another open platform that we can host courses on. And we developed one course that is going to run in the summer of 2018. However, after that course runs, we're discontinuing that service, mainly because the infrastructure and the support needed to maintain that platform is a little bit too much than what we can handle and what users can handle at the moment. So it's kind of like a pop-up platform. We're running it for one course and then it's going away. So that's mainly the platforms that we use right now. So iTunes U, we still do a little bit of development on there. It's not as strongly used as it has been in the past, mainly because Apple has recently enacted some restrictions where you can only access courses using iOS devices. So unless you have an iPhone or an iPad, you can't have an iTunes U experience. And that's not how it was, just a year ago in 2017. And so because of that, we've really even doubled down on our efforts of looking into Canvas Network as our place for these open courses that we develop. I'm actually going to pause for a second.
Okay. That's a big part of my
good.
chapter.
Good.
That's a big part. So when you said thank you so much. See, flowing. So we'll make the questions fit to you,
All right,
the other way around.
I covered 1 and 2. All right. So I think that's
You kind of covered 3 too.
I think I can breeze through 3 because we're already at a little over 5 minutes.
The other people's videos are anywhere from 15 to 19 minutes.
Okay.
But
Fine.
I know you're in a hurry. So
No. We're not going to be rushed by me. So let's start with number 3.
Okay. I'm sorry I messed up the.
Please. It's okay. So please describe the MOOC development process.
And I'll keep this up here.
Yeah, that's fine.
But we'll fit the questions to yours. Okay.
Oh, it's actually running.
Oh gosh.
I failed to press pause.
Oh, okay.
So
it is running. So. Okay. Okay. Please describe the MOOC development process.
So we develop MOOCs in partnership with faculty and the teams that they might come to us with. Our typical way that we work on courses, number one, we first have an initial kickoff consult with the faculty member, and we get to learn a little bit about the type of course that they want to develop. Maybe it's based already off of a course that they currently teach for Ohio State. Maybe it's something brand new, or maybe it's a derivative of a course that they're teaching at Ohio State. We have a lot of flexibility with these open courses to try something new, to be experimental in the way that we deliver these courses and these learning materials. And I think there's just a real opportunity to take chances with the material that we deliver. We have to think in different ways. We don't necessarily have to develop and build a 15-week course that would be a replication of a course that's taught at Ohio State. We can maybe take a course and look into the underlying themes of that course and draw out 2 or 3 that might be compelling from a global standpoint and develop a new course that's based off of those themes. So that's a lot of the work that we do right at the beginning in our kind of building out the scope and coming up with the plan for that particular course. After that, we talk a little bit about development, and if something is based off of an existing course, then we look at how that course is already built in Carmen, and we start making some tweaks and adjustments and tailoring a course for a global audience, taking into consideration, quite a few of the folks that might be taking the course might not have English as their first language. And so a lot of times we have to consider, how are we using English clearly to teach and to help encourage learners to learn. And also because the learners that take these courses are not Ohio State students, oftentimes we have to make sure that we're not focusing all of our content on a Midwestern United States, Ohio-focused lens, and really bring into the fact and take advantage of the fact that we have a global audience here. And so we can structure some of the assignments and some of the discussion based on learners sharing their own experience of how that material might be interpreted in their community, in their country, and just from their own personal perspective. So it creates an opportunity for some really enriching discussion. From there, we continue working on the course, and I'm going to start that part over. No, that's fine. From there, we continue working on the course. We build it and design it, hopefully working with the faculty's own instructional design team. If not, I help out, and we have some instructional designers here in the Office of Distance Education and E-Learning that can lend a hand from time to time as well. We try not to focus too heavily on the use of video lectures, although we do try and include them just to bring in some of the human element to encourage engagement and to put a face and humans into the course from a visual perspective. But we try not to focus our efforts on having a video-led course.
Okay, the next question is how many students are enrolled at OSU MOOCs and how many MOOCs are created in a year, and is that pace accelerating, decelerating, or remaining about the same?
I'm going to 5 first, I think. All right.
Okay. Do you want me to put the paper in?
Nope. Okay. So in a typical year, we would probably create anywhere from 3 to 5 MOOCs. Maybe a little bit more. I think this year we're on track to being close to 10 probably. And most of those are based off of courses that currently exist for students at Ohio State. And so we're just pulling in that content off of Carmen, working with the faculty and restructuring it into possibly a smaller course. For example, we recently did one for environmental science where we took the main Ohio State Introduction to Environmental Science course, and we split that course across 3 themes that are built up in the course. One of them being energy, another one being life, another one being water and air. And I messed that up, so I'm gonna probably cut that part out. It's fine. So that's fine. I couldn't remember. I was trying to pull the names of those courses out of the hat, but I got one of them right. I need to done this before I wrote. Because you're putting in so many good things that I need to go back. And so after, once we publish and start running all of these courses, most of them are run as self-paced, on-demand courses. So once the courses are turned on, they're always on until the faculty decides that they want to turn them off. We do have a few courses that are session-based in the sense that they have a distinct start date and end date. In a typical year, we might have anywhere from 5 to 10,000 members, possibly more, interact and engage with our materials in some manner. And that brings an interesting point as to how do we, what characterizes a successful learning experience for a student in one of our MOOCs. And one of the things that initially we would look at is completion rates. And, we have 30,000 people in this course, and we would look and see, well, only 1,000 of them actually completed the course. Is that a success or is that a failure, or where does that stand? And we learned early on that we cannot, count those completions as a metric of success for our MOOCs, mainly because we do not know the learning goals that a learner might have coming into these courses. And, we had, for our calculus course that we started with, it was a 15-week course covering calculus from a very beginning level and working until more advanced. And there might be some people that came into the course. In fact, there were definitely a few people that we heard from that came into the course because they were deficient in one particular section. Maybe it was module 4 or 5. And so for them, hitting just those modules only, that was a success for them. And for us, it's hard to measure that type of success because we built the course hoping that people would want to go from day 1 to the end of the course. And it's not always the case, and we have to be okay with that.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And, okay, so the next one, what kind of feedback do you usually get from students and professors?
So for the most part, we hear that students really like the courses that we develop and put out there. Oftentimes they'll reach out and ask us for more. They'll be specific about it. After we launched our Calculus 1 course and then our Calculus 2 course, we had quite a few students that reached out and say, hey, can you do a course on this type of linear algebra or some other thing like that? While we weren't necessarily in a position to take requests and start fulfilling the wishes of what people are looking for, we did try and take that into account in terms of, do we reach out to faculty and ask them, if they'd be interested in a particular type of course or not? But ultimately, we used a lot of the feedback to help us make iterative improvements in the course as well. So we would hear, constructive feedback from learners, and I think it was really interesting, especially in that calculus course at the beginning, and also in the writing course, where we would get feedback, in the first few weeks of the course, and then we were able to turn around and make an immediate improvement in the course or immediate adjustment in the course that impacted the following subsequent weeks of the course. So the first couple times that we ran the course, we were able to make some changes on the fly to impact and positively improve the learning experience based on feedback from earlier courses or earlier in that particular course. And that's basically about the type of feedback that we get. We do have a few learners that will say, I didn't like this course. But ultimately, in the end, these, we are creating these courses to give away at no cost. And so people are not paying for these courses outside of the use of their time. And in some regard, the use of their data as well. So we do try to respect, the data that the students do submit in our course, and we honor that. We honor that data by making sure that it remains in possession of that student.
Okay. The last one is the fun. Tom, what do you think the future of MOOCs will be here at Ohio State, and what about the future of MOOCs in general, as far as micro-credentialing, certification, or anything else that may?
So the future of MOOCs at Ohio State, it's something I think about quite frequently, and I always wonder, what's next, what's right around the corner, and seeing how, some of the focus of the reasons why we first began these open courses, initially it was to help faculty with maybe a particular initiative, or it was us figuring out how can we offer open courses, what can we do with them, reaching a broad audience. Oftentimes, at the very beginning, we noticed that we were able to reach a lot of people around the world that we did not have the ability to reach before. And so we were making impressions and creating a brand awareness, I guess, if you want to call it that, in countries and to learners that we would not normally be able to reach. But right now, our main focus is to support faculty in the things that they are doing. For instance, we have one initiative that we're working heavily on called Global One Health. And so I'm partnered with Dr. Gabreas here at Ohio State, and they are pulling in, these 15 courses that we're working to create as open resources to offer to the world, with a targeted audience in Africa, and then from there, since they're open, they're available to anybody who would like to take them. So we're roughly about halfway through our 15 courses, finding them and developing and publishing them. And so we're looking at some of those key initiatives at the university and looking at ways that we can utilize open platforms to spread the word about these initiatives and to also create materials that would be compelling and interesting for people around the world.
Do you want to talk about micro-credentials or certification?
Yeah, I think I'll do that. One of the aspects and areas that we're looking at using some of these open platforms for is what's called micro-credentials and certification. Hold on, I'm not ready.
Put it.
Fine. We're also looking at these MOOC platforms. Let me start over. We're also looking at these open course platforms as a possible place that we could offer courses that might have a credential, a micro-credential, or certification tied to them. While we would still offer the courses, for free at no cost, we would also offer the ability for a learner to earn a statement of accomplishment or a micro-credential or a certification of some sort for taking those courses. And it might involve linking out to an external testing site for ID verification and validation and such. But we haven't. It's an area that's growing in demand and at the university right now, and so we're looking at ways that we can utilize public platforms such as Canvas Network or any other platform that we might be involved in as a possible means to disseminate courses to the world, but then also link it with the ability to generate certificates or micro-credentials of some sort.
Okay, now I'm going to say, Tom Evans, thank you for your time today in helping us understand a little bit more about MOOCs at Ohio State.
Welcome.